On January 29, 1886, Carl Benz introduced the Benz Patent motor car, considered to be the first automobile in the world. Since then, the automobile industry has taken a tremendous leap in terms of innovation and development. From Formula One and NASCAR to rally and drag racing, human beings have always found a way to bend rules and exceed limits. Today, we are looking at 10 crazy cars that got banned. Number 10, 1988 Toyota Celica GT4. The 1998 Toyota Celica GT4 was one of the most dominating cars of its era. It was seemingly unbeatable. With time, everyone came to realize the huge difference in speed it had compared to other competitive cars. Because of this reason, the Celica GT4 is one of the most noticeable cars in racing history. As in most racing cars, the Celica had its turbocharger. But the turbocharger in Celica was not normal. The engineers who designed this car had found a loophole while manufacturing. They found a way to limit the roll of their restriction plates. After the whole world went on to search behind its incredible success, the secret was eventually leaked out. Number 9, Williams FW14. Williams FW14 was the first car designed by Adrian Newey, allocating huge budgets. Newey wanted to approach the designing process in a more unorthodox way and invested huge time for it. The result was Williams FW14, considered by many as the first modern F1 car. It had a first-of-its-class features like active suspension, incredible traction control system, and advanced semi-automatic transmission. Because of the 3.5-liter V10 Renault engine, the Williams was functionally unbeatable, winning the 1991 Constructors' Championship and 1992 Drivers' Championship. However, by 1993, the FIA was growing increasingly concerned by the costs being incurred by teams and the insane cornering speeds that these active suspension systems were generating. The horrifying crash of Alex Zanardi at Spa also brought safety concerns into the mix. Zanardi's Lotus had a leak in its hydraulic system, causing it to ground out at the bottom of Eau Rouge, forcing him into the barriers at close to top speed. In the end, the big budget that was invested in designing Williams F14 came to bite back as FIA decided to ban the system in 1994 because of unfair advantage to only certain teams who could afford it. Number 8, Chaparral 2E. The Chaparral 2E was a very interesting looking car. Everyone was fascinated by it when it came out to the public for the first time. It had a unique design and a large wing. The wing was so big that it could protect the driver from the sun. However, in the racing rule, such designs are considered to be an unfair advantage to the racers. The science behind this unique design was to gain maximum velocity during the race using the wind's motion. Because of this reason, banning this car was considered understandable. Nonetheless, the Chaparral 2E holds its own place in history books because of its unique body design. Number 7, 1984 Chevrolet C4 Corvette. The 1984 Chevrolet C4 Corvette was truly an intriguing car. It was developed by Chevrolet under the Chevrolet Corvette series family. The Corvette series family was famous for its fast-speed racing cars with no compromise. The C4 Corvette was no exception. It was practically unbeatable as it went to dominate car races. Due to this reason, it got a lot of praise in the racing world. It quickly started to gain followers and became a new sensation in the world of car racing. However, it became known that it was far too ahead of its competition, so it would end up being banned a few years after its release to give other cars a fair chance in the race. Number 6, Brabham BT46B. In the 70s, the rules in Formula One were more relaxed, allowing designers to get more creative and do out-of-the-box experiments. One such car designer was Colin Chapman. After years of experimentation, Chapman designed Brabham BT46B. The car made its debut at the 1978 Swedish Grand Prix at Anderstorp and completely dominated. Team principal Bernie Ecclestone made the drivers qualify on full tanks to make sure that the team didn't show its hand too early. In the race, Niki Lauda quickly overtook pole sitter Mario Andretti in the Brabham and promptly cleared off into the distance, winning the race by a whole 34 seconds. Unfortunately, the Constructors Association called for the car to be withdrawn, with team owner Bernie Ecclestone complying. The car never raced again and still holds the title of being the only F1 car with a 100% win record. This is certainly one for the history books. However, you will be amazed by the story of the number 1 car on our list, so stay tuned for that. Number 5. Lotus 56. Lotus 56 was another of Colin Chapman's innovations. The 56 was built from the ground up as an all-new race car, designed to make the best use of its 500 bhp Pratt & Whitney turbine engine. And if fitting a jet engine into a car wasn't enough innovation for you, Chapman sent the power to all 4 wheels in 1968. Unfortunately, the car's results don't demonstrate what a brilliant machine it was. At the 500, 3 cars were entered with 2 breaking down and 1 being crashed. But in qualifying, Joe Leonard set a 171.558 mile-per-hour lap, which at the time was a track record. And the car would have been even faster if the U.S. Auto Club hadn't forced Lotus to limit the car's intake by 35%. Shortly after the 1968 Indy 500, the Auto Club banned the technology completely, along with the all-wheel drive system. A real setback for what could have been revolutionary technology. True racing fans still appreciate the design and technology involved in the Lotus 56 at that time. Number 4. Dower Porsche 962. The Dower Porsche 962 had its own era of greatness. As it is well known to every car racing fan, the company is famous for its innovation in car development and especially for the speed their cars were capable of reaching. However, the car was banned from racing because of one of the most bizarre reasons. Its fuel tank was too big. Well, I must say, it might sound bizarre at first, but in the racing world, it is easily considered an unfair advantage to have a bigger fuel tank than the rest of the competitors. Due to this reason, it was understandable for the car to be banned. Number 3. IMSA Concealare GTP. The IMSA Concealare GTP is another of the most accomplished cars in the history of car racing. It would have an immense amount of success during its time in the racing circuit, but this would end up resulting in it being banned from racing a few years after its release. It definitely was a bit disappointing to see this car go, as it honestly could have continued to have a lot of success. However, what is even more devastating is the fact that it is easily one of the most forgotten sports cars of all time. That is a shame, as for a short time period, it was an elite company with its immense amount of accolades. The IMSA Concealare GTP truly deserves our nomination. Number 2. 1970 Chaparral 2J. Not to be confused with Chaparral 2E in terms of naming, the 1970 Chaparral 2J is one of the easily recognizable cars in the automobile world. This vehicle had a futuristic style, but it also was built in such a strange manner. I mean, it had a suction system basically powered by 2 fans that enabled it to stick to the ground like glue. The Chaparral used a separate engine from a snowmobile to drive the fans, leaving the Chevrolet V8 free to send all of its power to the rear wheels. This combination gave the car an incredible advantage. Thanks to the fans producing a constant level of low pressure, regardless of the speed, the 2J had the same level of downforce at 30 miles per hour as it had at 130 miles per hour. Unfortunately, the car suffered from mechanical problems throughout the 1970s Can-Am season, which, let's face it, was to be expected with such an innovative design. However, due to the fact that its impact on the racetrack was far too damaging by the way it was programmed, this vehicle would quickly be banned from racing. In this way, the unique design of the car led to its demise in the end. Number 1. The 1992 Nissan Skyline GT-R Group A. The 1992 Nissan Skyline GT-R Group A is a car based on Nissan's Skyline range. It is considered by many to be one of the most dominating cars in the history of the sport. The interesting thing about this car was its engine. There were no such engine technologies during its era. The car won 49 straight wins between 1968 and 1972. People have been deeply connected to this new sensation in the world of racing. However, the car's excellence came back to haunt it after both Group A and JTCC felt that it simply had far too great of an advantage compared to the other cars. It has become notable through pop culture such as Gran Turismo, The Fast and the Furious, Shakotan Boogie, Wangan Midnight, Forza, Need for Speed, Driving Emotion Type S, and Initial D. In 2019, it was announced that the company would resume production of spare parts for all generations of the Skyline GT-R, including body panels and engines. This was our list for the 10 crazy cars that were banned. Do you know more cars that didn't get mentioned in this list? Let us know in the comments section, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more awesome videos.